What if I told you Europe is already at war, and most people don't even know it? No tanks rolling through streets, no air raid sirens, just pipelines exploding in the night, elections manipulated by phantom armies online, and GPS signals vanishing over the Baltic Sea. Russia isn't coming. Russia is here. And the scariest part? Europe's trillion-dollar economies, its state-of-the-art militaries, its diplomatic power, none of it seems ready for what's already happening. Except for one country, one nation that's not just ready, they're fighting back right now, and they're winning. Europe's shocking vulnerabilities, Russia's shadow war that's already underway, and why Ukraine isn't just fighting for their survival, they're fighting for ours. Welcome to the War Update. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. Europe is rich. We're talking combined GDP in the trillions, technology that leads the world, alliances that span continents. On paper, unstoppable. But here's the problem, and I need you to really hear this. Wealth doesn't equal willingness to fight. Germany, France, the UK, these are nations with incredibly sophisticated militaries, but ask yourself, are they truly prepared for full-scale conflict? Training exercises look impressive. Joint NATO drills make for great photo ops, but when push comes to shove, when an actual aggressor threatens actual territory, where's the backbone? Ammunition stockpiles are embarrassingly low. In some countries, they'd run out of shells in days of sustained combat. Days. Conscription? Political suicide. Public support for military action? Rock bottom. We've grown comfortable, and comfort is the enemy of preparedness. Now, while Europe debates and dithers, Russia's already making moves, but not the moves we're watching for. Forget tanks and jets for a moment. Russia's playing a different game, hybrid warfare. It's brilliant, it's insidious, and it's working. Cyberattacks that shut down hospitals and power grids, check. We've seen them hit Ukraine, Estonia, even systems across Western Europe. Disinformation campaigns flooding social media, turning citizens against their own governments, sowing chaos during elections, check. Physical sabotage, undersea cables mysteriously cut, railway systems disrupted, suspected arson at defense facilities from Poland to Spain, check. These aren't random acts, they're coordinated, they're strategic. And what's Europe's response? Strongly worded statements, sanctions that sting but don't stop, diplomatic protests that fall on deaf ears in Moscow. You think Putin's losing sleep over another round of sanctions when his operatives are literally blowing up infrastructure on European soil? This brings us to NATO. Article 5, the Collective Defense Clause. An attack on one is an attack on all. Sounds solid, right? But let's get real for a second. NATO's never faced a peer adversary in a full-scale conventional war. Not once since its founding. Kosovo? Air campaign against a weak opponent. Afghanistan? Counterinsurgency that ended in chaos. Libya? Limited strikes. What happens when Article 5 gets triggered by a real attack? Not a cyber incident we can debate about, but tanks crossing a border. In theory, the alliance mobilizes. In practice, we'd see what we always see. Debates, hesitation, political calculations. Would Germany commit troops immediately? Would France? Would there be unity, or would we watch allies scramble to figure out who does what while the aggressor gains ground? And here's the killer question. How long would it take? Hours? Days? Weeks? In modern warfare, hesitation measured in hours can mean defeat. And then there's the elephant in the room, the United States. For 75 years, American military might has been the backbone of European security. The nuclear umbrella, the troops stationed from Germany to Poland, the guarantee that if Europe falls, America fights. But let's ask the hard question. In 2026, would America really send its sons and daughters to die for Europe? I'm not trying to be cynical here. I'm being realistic. Look at American politics right now. There's a growing isolationist sentiment. China's the focus. Domestic issues dominate. And you want to ask American families to sacrifice their kids for what? A territorial dispute in Eastern Europe that most couldn't find on a map? One election, one shift in leadership, and that transatlantic bond everyone takes for granted? It could fray faster than you think. Europe can't assume America's cavalry is coming. Not anymore. Now, I want to talk about a film. Stay with me. This connects. A House of Dynamite, Catherine Bigelow's 2025 thriller. If you haven't seen it, here's the setup without spoilers. A rogue nuclear missile is heading for Chicago. The president has minutes to decide, launch a full retaliatory strike, potentially starting World War III, or hold back and risk looking weak, inviting more attacks. On one side, you've got military brass pushing for immediate, overwhelming response. On the other, civilians begging for restraint, for verification, for diplomacy. And in the middle, a leader with incomplete information, conflicting advice, and a decision that could end civilization. What makes this film so powerful isn't the action, it's the paralysis. The system that's supposed to work flawlessly, it breaks down. Human error, technical glitches, ego, fear, it all collides. Now, why am I telling you about a movie? Because this is NATO's nightmare scenario. Replace the president with 31 member states. Replace one decision maker with dozens of leaders, each with their own politics, their own red lines, their own timelines. You think coordination happens smoothly when missiles are flying? A House of Dynamite shows us what we don't want to admit. Systems built on assumptions fall apart under real pressure. In the film, there's a moment where a general says, "We planned for everything except this exact scenario." That line should haunt every NATO strategist. Because when the moment comes, and it might, all those perfect plans, all those simulations, they might not be worth the paper they're printed on. Okay, so we've painted a pretty grim picture. Europe's unprepared, NATO's untested, America's commitment is questionable, and our decision-making systems might crumble under pressure. But here's where the story changes. Because there is a force in Europe that's ready. That's proven. That's fighting right now. Not hypothetically ready. Not ready on paper. Battle-tested ready. These are warriors who've been fighting Europe's biggest threat for years. And they're not just surviving. They're adapting, innovating, winning. While European generals run simulations, Ukrainian soldiers are writing the textbook on modern warfare. Drone tactics that are being studied worldwide. Electronic warfare that's countering Russian advantages. Urban combat strategies that NATO is learning from. You want to know what readiness looks like? It's not a defense budget. It's not a procurement program. It's a 19-year-old Ukrainian operating a drone to take out a tank. It's engineers turning consumer electronics into military assets. It's a nation that was supposed to fall, but didn't. They are Europe's shield. Every day they fight, they're taking hits meant for the rest of the continent. And this is where we get to the bottom line, the part that too many people miss. Supporting Ukraine isn't charity. It's not about being nice. It's the smartest, most self-interested move Europe can make. Every weapon we send to Ukraine is a weapon we don't have to fire ourselves. Every Ukrainian soldier trained is one less European or American soldier we might have to deploy. Every piece of territory they reclaim is territory Russia can't use to threaten the next country. Think of it as an investment. A fraction of Europe's defense budget, supporting an army that's actually engaged with the enemy, degrading Russian military capability without risking NATO troops. The alternative? If Ukraine falls, where does Russia stop? The Baltics? Poland? Do we really want to find out if Article 5 works when Russian forces are on NATO soil? Ukraine is buying us time. Time to rebuild ammunition stocks. Time to increase defense budgets. Time to get our act together. But more than that, they're showing us something we forgot. That freedom is worth fighting for. That some things can't be negotiated away. That courage still matters. These are young people who could have fled, who could have given up. Instead, they're standing firm, and they're doing it not just for Ukraine, but for the principle that borders matter, that sovereignty matters, that might doesn't make right. So here's where we are. Europe has the wealth, but lacks the will. Russia's waging a hybrid war that's already here. NATO's collective defense is a theory that's never been truly tested. America's commitment can't be taken for granted. And our decision-making systems might fail us when we need them most. But in the middle of all this uncertainty, there's one constant: Ukraine, fighting, winning, holding the line. They're not asking us to fight for them. They're asking us to let them fight for all of us. Weapons, training, funding, solidarity. It's not aid, it's investment in our own security. Because make no mistake, Their fight is our fight. Their victory is our peace. Their survival is our security. To everyone in Ukraine watching this, you're not just brave, you're essential. You're the warriors Europe needs, and history will remember what you're doing right now. Thanks for watching the War Update. If this opened your eyes, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with everyone who needs to understand what's really at stake. Drop a comment. I want to know, do you think Europe is ready, or are we sleepwalking into disaster?